Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Tarot in Action. We're going to talk about the High Priestess in this video. The High Priestess, of course, represents your intuition, higher power, inner voice, secrets, mysteries. I also think that she represents things that enter into our awareness. So with the High Priestess, we can become aware of anything, could mostly an opportunity, and she has no roof over her head. As I always say, to me, this represents unlimited potential. And if you have an opportunity that comes your way and you get the High Priestess in a reading, whether it's a reading you do or someone else does, doesn't matter. To me, it can represent really needing to jump onto the opportunity because it could become something, again, much bigger than you realize. The High Priestess, she kind of sits between the Magician and the Empress in the tarot. And if you noticed in the Magician video, I also said that he kind of represents unlimited potential, kind of sky's the limit, really there are no limits type of energy. And it's because she sits between the Magician and the Empress. The Empress is kind of the action. We're going to talk about the Empress in the next video. And she's holding a scepter, and she uses that scepter to kind of grow the wheat that is in front of her. So she kind of represents the actually putting things into action part of, creating abundance or whatever it is that you want to create. But she can also create a lot of abundance, the High Priestess. She can also manifest things very, very quickly. So the best action with her is to grab onto opportunities, plain and simple, that come your way. Also, another kind of like a side note is, of course, trust your intuition with the High Priestess. I do feel that if you're not practiced with your intuition, then the High Priestess can represent needing to practice your intuition so that you can tap into it in the first place. Real down and dirty, quick and simple way to practice your intuition is to just notice how you feel when you enter into a room that has people in it. I still do this. I've been doing this for years. Every time I enter into a store, a room with people, pretty much anything, I kind of pay attention to the feelings or to the feeling of the space that I'm entering into. And it's a great way to practice your intuition. There are many other ways to do it, but, I would definitely do that with her. I think the other best action, I would say if we were to rank these actions, the other best action with her is that she understands that she is a fully integrated being. She is a mixture between kind of like the dark and the light, the masculine and the feminine, whatever you want to call it. We have these two pillars here, and the two pillars kind of represent the energies, earth, air, water, and fire, and she is sitting between them. She is actually a combination of all the energies. She knows that she's a fully integrated being, and she understands that she has a dark side and a light side. She kind of takes the good with the bad, and then she uses the energy. Sometimes, she understands that maybe she has to be bad, right? If someone is trying to hurt her, for example, she knows she has to defend herself, and some people might view that as a bad thing, right? But she doesn't care. She's a fully integrated being. So sometimes I kind of feel like she kind of represents needing to maybe balance out some energies inside of you because she is a combination of, all energies that exist, basically. She also kind of represents acting as if you already have something. Again, very similar to the Magician, but a little bit different. She has that crown on her head, and the crown is like 3 stages of the moon. And she sees, it just represents the fact that she sees the beginning, the middle, and the end of all situations, of basically everything that she could be dealing with. But she also, part of that is that she sees herself at the beginning, middle, and end of a situation. She sees herself as she wants things to go, and I think that's also one of the best actions you can take with the High Priestess. Doesn't matter what your situation is, just seeing the beginning, middle, and end as you want it to go, kind of projecting it into the universe, whatever you want to call it, is definitely a very good action to take with her. She also has these pomegranates behind her on the tapestry behind her there, the whatever you want to call it. And those are the fruit of the underworld, and I think sometimes we need to remember like where we have come from. So another action we can take with the High Priestess is to look at our underworld experiences. It always reminds me of like the hero's journey. And in the hero's journey, the hero always goes to the underworld to discover some sort of special like weapon that's used to conquer the monster or the dragon or whatever. This is pretty much in every single myth that exists, right? And she kind of represents needing to look at are underworld moments. Like, what moments in your life have you gone to the underworld? I think sometimes we throw away our experiences where we have maybe a negative experience or a challenging experience, and we just want to move past it. We just want to get away from it. But it's like, what good things have come from it? Or what have you learned? Or is there a tool that you have gained because of what you've gone through? She can represent that. Especially in love readings, I've noticed that she can say, you've been through these things in love. Like, don't forget about the warning signs or, any of the things that you've been through so you can avoid it in the future for sure. Again, like I said, she can represent balancing your energies as well. Because she is a combination of all energies that exist, I think a great action to take with the High Priestess is to maybe look at where you're out of balance, or if there is something out of balance, and trying to balance the energies. Before we can kind of like manifest abundance with the Empress, which is the next card that we're going to talk about, we kind of like need to understand the ins and outs of ourselves, or the ins and outs of a situation. I always think with the High Priestess that, a good example of an action with the High Priestess is maybe you're asking about money, or you're wanting to manifest money in your life. You get the High Priestess. It can kind of say, like, maybe you have some negative self-talk around money, or maybe there are some old beliefs that you have around money that you need to change, because we kind of need to change our inner world with the High Priestess, not so much the external, right? The Empress, next card, is more about the external, the, what we present to the world, the things that are outside of us. So she can represent needing to, kind of make sure that our inner world is in alignment with what we actually want. Same thing with love. It's like, I talk to a lot of people that want love, but they say everyone's a cheater, or, whatever story you have about relationships. So we kind of have to change that inner story with the High Priestess. One is visualization. Again, like I said, she sees the beginning and middle and end of how she wants things to go. So visualizing it would be important. Meditation, trusting your intuition, learning to trust your intuition as well. I think, not to go on and on and on about this, but, with her, I think in relationships, for example, I've been in many where it's like, I knew exactly how it was going to end because of what the person said, but I chose not to listen to it. Not really intuitive, although kind of was, right? But she kind of like trusts her instincts, like, even, which is different than intuition, right? Not only does she trust her intuition, but again, she's a mixture of all energies. So it's not just an intuition. She also trusts her instincts. A person might say something to her and she's like, I need to get out of this because it's not going to go the way I think. So that's the High Priestess. I will see you in the Empress, which is going to be the next card. Also, if you want to learn more about tarot, I have my Tarot Masterclass. There's a link down in the description below.